Hey, I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are. And in this video, I just want to share with you a little bit about the food philosophy for this program. It's really basic and simple, like everything is. Well, at least it's meant to be received that way. And what I just want to share about this is that, to start with, wow, I mean, there are so many diets out there and, so many ways to eat that are recommended in this day and age that, often it leaves us with a feeling of confusion and overwhelm and wow, I don't even know where to begin with this. Should I do this? Should I do that? There are so many recommendations here or there. And although I wouldn't say, I would definitely say there's no one template for everyone to eat. Absolutely, we're all different, unique individuals as human beings. And we should celebrate that, and especially in our food, which is such a massive part of our lives, we should definitely celebrate the enjoyment of what we eat. That's massive, and that's what I feel with a lot of diets is unfortunately lacking, is because, not necessarily due to the diet, but maybe due to that, again, there's so much information out there on it that we become confused and overwhelmed. So in this program, it's all about dropping that confusion and overwhelm and just coming back to some real basic principles around food that I have tried and tested in my own life and with numerous of my clients who love this way of eating. So having said that, I guess the summary of the diet, if you were to call it that I will be prescribing and helping you guys within this program is what I call Granny's diet. So what is Granny's diet? Well, it's really saying that eat like your granny did. Eat foods that are as wholesome as possible, as close to nature as possible, as free from preservatives and as free from chemicals and flavor enhancers. So if you looked at it in a nutshell and you have your supermarket, it would really be eating mostly what is on the outside aisles of your supermarket rather than throughout the shelves. That's really what we're looking at. Or preferably even so, if you do and have access to local farmers markets. I know a lot of regions in Australia have this. Even in Sweden there were farmers markets that I went to when I was living abroad there. So getting to your farmer's market is an amazing way to eat high vibration, beautiful quality food that is really as close to nature as we can get. So having said that, there are a few exceptions to Granny's diet, and that really comes down to that in our modern day and age, even if we get to the gym, even if we work out and exercise, on average we don't move our bodies near the amount of how our granddad and grandma's forefathers moved their bodies. We with the convenience of automobiles, we just don't move our bodies enough to consistently eat certain foods that I wouldn't say are necessarily bad, but they're carbohydrate density, so their energy calorie density is a lot higher for the nutrient output that they give. And those foods I'll list on Granny's diet for you as well, those exceptions, but they basically come down to rices, especially white rice, pasta, again more refined white pasta, potatoes, and there's one more that I forget off the top of my head now. But anyway, they'll be listed on there for you. So it's really about eating foods that are free from preservatives and that are processed free as much as possible. So look, I hear you now. Some of you might be saying, but processed foods taste good. And I get that. And look, I personally, I'm not one who has a natural palate for enjoying salads and plates full of vegetables. I'll just honestly say it, one of my favorite meals, I say, when people ask me, what's your favorite meal, and I say, well, if I had a death row meal, as in my last meals, they would have to be two. They are tacos, which I absolutely love, and Big Mac value meals. So I'm not, and like I said, we're here to enjoy our food. So what I've learned in this journey of being someone who naturally doesn't love just a salad with nothing else and go, oh, this tastes delicious, is I've learned techniques around food to make healthy eating delicious. And basically comes down to a few simple principles, which is that to make food delicious, when I'm talking about that I love a Big Mac, what I really love is it's the sauce. It's the sauce that makes the burger so delicious. So we need to put sauces, herbs and spices. I mean, what would KFC be without its secret herbs and spices, right? It's really about including herbs, spices, sauces and dressings into our meals. And when we do that, when we figure out how to make healthy herbs and spices, using natural herbs and spices, organic ones, using these things in our sauces, in our dressings, we find that actually we can make healthy eating super delicious. And so, you know, that's what actually enables us to keep eating healthy food continuously, because no one can ultimately stick to a diet that is not enjoyable. That's just the bottom line, and I'm not exempt from that. We're all, we can do something, with a short-term projection if we know there's an end date to it, but if you knew you had to eat tasteless food for the rest of your life, there's just no way. So I am a real believer of that we have to enjoy our food, and I'm going to give you guys some amazing recipes with really tasty, healthy food. So having said that, of course, occasionally, for whatever reason, we do feel a bit lazy and maybe we don't want to cook. Or maybe we have just that favorite thing, like every now and then I will eat a Big Mac value meal. I don't so much drink the Coke because it's just not my palate, but I will occasionally eat that because it's just what it tastes like, what I feel like. I've even actually created my own Big Mac at times. I found recipes online of how to make healthy Big Mac sauce. But again, like I said, sometimes we just want that thing, and that's fine. And I feel that there's this principle that I've come across in everything, and this applies to fitness as well, and you won't find it in a Wikipedia search, but I call it the law of yo-yo. And what the law of yo-yo means is that everything that goes up in life must come down. And if you strongly repress an urge or a feeling to have something, a craving, you're going to end up overexpressing it. And this is why we see oftentimes when people go onto diets, they end up coming off it and they actually eat more unhealthy food than they ever did because they've been repressing a feeling, they've been stifling an urge. And so we need to actually be a little bit mindful and aware of what we're feeling about our food when we're eating it. So I've created what I call the 80-20 principle, which is that 80% of the time you want to be eating generally healthy, but 20% of the time you need to give yourself that allowance to actually eat what you crave, things that aren't considered so much healthy. But this is really important if we're going to have longevity in sustaining a general habit of eating good foods. So what that looks like in a week, and you'll see when we get onto the meal planner, is that out of the meals in your week, out of the 21 meals that you eat, breakfast, lunch and dinner, there are 17 of those in general that I'd like if you could eat those meals just being the healthy food choices that I recommend. And 20% being 4 meals a week, you can eat whatever you like. Truly, like, eat whatever you crave and feel. There's one thing to this though, and that's that you can't bank your 20 meals, as in your 20% meals. You can't bank them. So you can't say, well, I didn't feel like eating those meals last week and I didn't have any, so this week I get 8 of those. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. So the 80-20 principle states that so in your week that you plan for, you know that you have 4 meals in there that you can eat and make whatever you want that food choice to be, for whatever reason. If you're feeling just too tired or you're just not feeling motivated to make dinner that night or lunch or whatever, then that's okay. Or you're out with friends and you just, everyone's eating chicken schnitzel with chips, and it's like, well, you know what, like, yeah, I'm gonna have that too. So totally cool. All right, so I hope that helps you to feel a little bit more relaxed, a little bit less worried about that this program is going to be some kind of strict diet that you're not going to be able to stick to. Absolutely not about that. So relax. All right, all with light and ease. Cool. So yeah, finally I just want to say is I just want to speak a little bit, make a mention about being food aware. So even when you're eating your meals that aren't so much your healthy meals, so say for example, as I said, I eat McDonald's every now and then. I'll have a Big Mac. I don't eat anything else from there. I just love the Big Mac for its sauce, and I like having a few fries with it. So before I start that meal, it's really important that you drop the guilty feeling. Now, whether you've looked at that video or not yet, when we talk about mindset philosophy, the vibration that you put onto your food is massively important. If you put a vibration, if you're putting forth a feeling of guilt or fear around the food that you're eating, then you're actually doing yourself a greater disservice than if you loved that food. Love that food completely. So when I sit down and I eat my Big Mac occasionally, I actually take the time to be really appreciative. I think about all the kids running around in that kitchen that have taken the time to prepare it, the truck driver that delivered it, the frozen patty there, whatever, and ultimately the cow that it came from, like that really had a life, and here I am serving it the best by loving its vibration and saying, wow, thank you so much. I'm going to enjoy your delicious contribution to my life. So that's the last thing that I just want to make mention of, that is just to have some food awareness of what we're eating each meal before we eat. So having said that, I hope that makes things clear for you that this is a really relaxed food program. You don't even have to eat the recipes that I suggest. They're just suggestions, but I also will include a list of Granny's foods, like I said, that will list all of the foods that are ultimately great foods for us to put in our bodies each meal. Last thing I'll say, last principle, is simple principle, is that each meal, preferably, we want to actually get a bit of protein, carbohydrate, and fat into that meal. And some of those overlap sometimes, but ultimately we want to eat a portion of protein about the size of our palm. Most often in our society, we overeat protein in one sitting, and what it does is puts pressure on our on our kidneys and digestive system. We actually want to try to stick to about a palm size of protein. Second to that is our carbohydrate content, generally span of when your fingers are outstretched. That's how much carbohydrates you want on your plate. I don't care what it is, you can mix and match, but sweet potatoes, zucchinis, carrots, whatever it is, just these beautiful whole foods with it. And then our fats, generally about thumb size, and a lot of these, if you do follow my recipes, will come in your dressings, in your sauces, and obviously not in your herbs and spices, but in your dressings and your sauces. So just to give you guys just that heads up about having just a bit of that awareness of how much you're putting on your plate as a general reference guide. Cool. Okay, so I hope you guys are feeling excited. Have a look at the recipes library. There are so many delicious recipes in there for you to choose from. And put them into your meal planner, write your grocery list, and enjoy your palate, enjoy the foods you eat. Yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next video.